We started working with Chevron probably in about 2003, 2004, and we assisted them in the feasibility phase of this project. We did that up until 2008, 2009, and then the tender proper came out. It was a fairly impressive sized tender, one of the largest we've seen. It was very much a team effort from our behalf. I had to get everyone involved to ensure that we had the resources to fully understand what the tender entailed and then to be able to put forward a good tender proposal to the client.
At Holcim, we're really proud to be part of the Gorgon gas project. We've won a lot of work in Western Australia, and this is the largest project we've ever had. And it's a great vindication of our efforts and our performance on delivering projects like this that we get these jobs.
The fact that it's on an environmental A-class reserve on an island, so it's a huge challenge for us, but these kind of challenges don't come along very often, and we're excited to be a part of it.
It's been many years in the making, many long hours, tense moments and hard work. But now, for us at Holcim, our role in Australia's biggest ever industrial endeavour, the Gorgon project, is finally taking centre stage.
Well, this is it. This is the Holcim batch plan on the Gorgon project for Barrow Island. It's been a huge amount of work for a lot of people. Been 18 months of fabrication, engineering, design, construction. Everything here has had to be shipped on a barge to get here. We've had a huge crew that have had to unload it, strip it of the plastic that we need to wrap it for quarantine, and then put it all together. It's been a lot of challenges, but now we stand here and we're operating. We've been supplying for 6 weeks, and we're getting ready to supply the bulk of the project starting next month.
When our first load of equipment arrived on the docks in Henderson in early 2010, this day seemed far away. Just wrapping our massive pieces of machinery to satisfy the strict quarantine requirements seemed a huge task. But it was a race against time, as we were only months away from our first concrete pour on Barrow Island.
We were asked early on to bring a mobile batch plant to the island because it was evident that the early concrete needs of the project weren't going to be met by the existing concrete facilities. We had to get involved in that, get a plant here early and get it set up and operating.
Well, at the same time as this plant was being built, we were running our little mobile batch plant at the old airport. So that plant started producing concrete in June last year.
But our eyes were firmly fixed on our goal, to build 2 full batch plants capable of producing 280,000 cubic metres of concrete for stage 1 of the Gorgon project.
We were running 2 crews simultaneously. The mobile batch plant was producing concrete to supply to the wharf, to the construction village, and that was about 15 people operating there. Our construction crew was the majority of our people, and they were up to around 50 people on site.
It's been one of the larger projects in Holcim's history in Australia, and it's also been probably the most daunting as far as logistics and difficult situations.
Terry Merker is Holcim's senior construction manager. A tough task under any conditions, let alone on a cyclone-prone island, 80 kilometres off the coast and around 1,400 kilometres from Perth.
Logistically, it was quite difficult. It's all got to be modularised here so that we spend as little time as possible to do it on the island. We spend a lot of time making sure the modules were as completely fabricated as possible before we brought them to the island. It meant we were bringing large structures to the island, some of them are 6 to 8 metres tall.
Every item of plant here was pre-assembled in Perth and shipped to the island. So when you think about the scale of the items when we're wrapping them in plastic, it's a big exercise.
Building the plant wasn't the only task made difficult by the remoteness. Everything we needed for day-to-day operations had to be brought to the island, from a tin of oil to thousands of tonnes of aggregate.
Originally the plan had been that all the aggregate and sand that we needed to produce concrete was going to be produced on the island. There were some issues with that, and we were asked if we could help the project by bringing in aggregates and sand from the mainland. We had operations in Nickel Bay and Turner River that we were able to get involved. The guys there that then had to be trained in the quarantine aspects of the project as well.
Being in such a remote place presented other challenges too.
You've got to be one step ahead when it comes to thinking about being on the island and spare parts. It's not like we can go into the nearest town, call up for assistance. We need to be thinking ahead of critical spares for our plant, and if something does go wrong, we need to have well, at the moment, having assistance from contractors on the site. We're all working very closely together.
There was a point that we were even bringing in water from the mainland. because the desalination plant and the RO plant weren't commissioned yet.
And if all that wasn't hard enough, Mother Nature played her hand in our challenging task as well.
We had days and days upon end of dust, heat, and the guys working out in these sort of conditions, they've just done a fantastic job to get it to where it is now.
We've had unseasonal cyclonic weather here, so it's added to the challenges we've had on site. This is the highest recorded wind speed anywhere in Australia, so it's over 400 kilometres an hour that's been recorded here. The highest category construction we've had to build anywhere in Australia.
We constructed right through the middle of a pretty tough cyclone season. There was 7 cyclones came through where everyone on the island had to be demobbed, and that involves packing up the plant, lowering the silo at the mobile. All the construction here needs to be packed up, tied down. The guys get off the island, and then when they get back, another cyclone comes. It's really hard to get a bit of momentum up.
As an A-class reserve, Barrow Island is home to a unique ecosystem of plants and animals, and strict quarantine procedures are in place for all workers, equipment and materials on the island to protect it.
To give an example, we've had barges turned around at the Wappet landing area due to geckos, due to spider webs. So full barges coming to the island with goods that we're waiting for, and they've had to be turned around to go back to the mainland due to quarantine issues. Chevron are very serious and committed to ensuring this project is successful, and in doing that, being on the A-class reserve, it comes a lot to do with the environment, the quarantine and the safety. Safety is a step up from any other project I've ever been involved with.
The Holcim team met each challenge head on, and within just over 14 months from commencing work, concrete was flowing from our first batch plants.
When we produced that first load of concrete and we had everyone here, that was a great feeling. It was very satisfying, and everyone who was involved, I think felt that, and I hope everyone, not just on the island but right through our business who was involved in the project, really felt that satisfaction.
But there was no time to rest. As one of the world's largest gas projects, Gorgon is being constructed to rigid timeframes. Having equipment fail is not an option, which calls for extreme solutions.
It's a project where we're required to have 100% redundancy, which is not common in any other concrete plant in Australia. So whatever we build, we've had to duplicate.
The plant itself is a mirror image concrete plant, so we have 2 completely separate 120 metres an hour concrete plants, so that if we were to have any issues with one of them, we can switch over to the other and ensure that there's no interruption to the concrete delivery.
The iceworks, which will only be required for a small amount of the project, have also been duplicated. And on our regular barge deliveries, we've gathered everything else we need for the project.
There's a fair bit of equipment. We've got 10 8-metre concrete trucks on the site, two loaders.
Now, with our equipment, batch plants and materials on the island, we're moving forward to our next exciting phase.
It feels really good to be able to stand here now and see the results of all the hard work, all the efforts that so many people have put in, and it has been a huge team effort.
Yeah, it's great to be here. It's taken a while, but it's good to see both plants that are working.
Everyone should feel really satisfied with the results, and it's a really impressive plant. It looks great, and we're looking forward to getting into the operations now and supplying the concrete.